Hello everyone, I am Heather, and in today's video, I'm going to give an update on our opinions about Royal Caribbean versus Disney Cruise Line. I have made 2 videos about this in the past. The first one I filmed back in 2018 while we were still on board Mariner of the Seas. And I will link that video right up here. It's just me in that video. And then I think a couple of years later, 1 or 2 years later, I filmed a video at home with my 2 younger kids where I asked them for their opinions about the differences between Royal Caribbean and Disney Cruise Line. However, in making that video, I came to realize that their memories weren't that good. I will link that one up here just so you can watch it. But they didn't remember the cruise on Disney very well, which we had taken before the one on Mariner. And I also don't think I organized the subject in that video very well. So in the past year, in 2022 and 2023, we have taken 2 additional cruises on Royal Caribbean and 2 additional cruises on Disney Cruise Line. And at the time I'm filming this video, we've taken 1 on Royal Caribbean and 1 on Disney Cruise Line in the past 3 months. So I felt like, it's fresh in our minds. I took some notes on our most recent Disney cruise and we discussed it as a family. And so I wanted to give you kind of an update and better organized Royal versus Disney to give you at least our opinion of what we think. And I've broken this down into 5 categories. So in this video, I'm going to be comparing the ships, the cabins, the food, the entertainment and activities, and the service on both Royal Caribbean and Disney. And I'm going to tell you the winner for each. So stay tuned. All right. Here's what I'm not going to compare because I think there are way too many variables, and this is a common mistake that people make. A lot of people say all the time, well, Disney's just too expensive, and so you can't even compare them. And to some extent, you can't really compare them, which I talk about all the time in my videos, but that's kind of because of the fact that Royal Caribbean is a mainstream cruise line, and Disney is considered a premium cruise line. So overall, it's not really comparable. And I also feel that Disney Cruise Line really can't be compared to any other cruise line, because it's just so different. It's such a unique thing. But I am going to attempt in this video to compare these 5 categories. But I do have a whole playlist about Disney Cruise Line on my channel, which I will link at the end of this video so you can go back and learn more information about what I mean by that, about how Disney can't really be compared straight on to other cruise lines, because it's really kind of a unique thing. But again, when we talk about price, I really don't think it's fair to just lump a cruise line as a whole together. Like, there can even be Carnival cruises that are more expensive than a Disney cruise. It depends on too many factors, the price of a cruise. The price of a cruise depends on the dates that you're sailing, the length of the cruise, how many people are going, what type of cabin you get, the destination, how many port days versus sea days there are, because there's port fees. And then you have to factor in additional things like how much is it going to cost you to get to the cruise port. For us lately, with the high airfare that's been happening lately, that's been a huge factor. So, just to give you an idea, a 3-night Disney cruise in the off season when kids are off school can actually be way cheaper than a 7-night on Royal Caribbean in the summer. So there's way too many variables, and you can't just say Disney's more expensive than Royal Caribbean. Because honestly, if you price out every cruise there is, it might end up being the other way around. So I never want to include price in a comparison because there's too many factors. You have to take all those things into consideration. The price of a cruise will vary widely. There's really cheap cruises, there's really, really expensive cruises, and there's everything in between. So you really can't compare price because you have to take into consideration all of those different variables. The first category that I'm going to compare is the ships. Now, we have been on a number of Royal Caribbean ships. Our family has been on 3 different classes of Royal Caribbean ships. The 2 most recent ones were an Oasis class ship. We were on Harmony of the Seas, which is the biggest. And we were on a Voyager class ship. We've been on 3 different Voyager class ships: Explorer of the Seas, Mariner of the Seas, and Navigator of the Seas. have to say that the Voyager class is probably, at least right now, my favorite class of Royal Caribbean ship, even though they're a little older. But they are about the same age as the two oldest Disney Cruise Line ships, the Disney Wonder and the Disney Magic. And we were on both of those in the past year. The ships are all very nice ships for both lines. They're all very well maintained and taken care of. They are kept up really well. They're, I think, in both cases, really easy to get around on both cruise lines. They have different aspects of beauty. I mean, Disney is specifically designed to look like classic ocean liners of the early 20th century. Royal Caribbean has more of a classic like cruise line look with totally white hulls and white ships. Royal Caribbean tends to have all those extra bells and whistles on them, things like lots of water slides and, you know, the sky pad that they put on there and the flow rider and things like that you'll see on the top deck and stuff like that. So both cruise lines have very nice ships and they both have a lot to offer on their ships. However, for this category, I'm going to give the win to Disney. I just find that the Disney Cruise Line ships are so beautiful. They're really very classically elegant. If you ever get a chance to go on the Art of the Theme tour on Disney Cruise Line, they explain to you that the intention with the Disney Cruise Line ships is to combine the classic ocean liner look with modern amenities and whimsy. And they really do an excellent job of that. I mean, everything on Disney Cruise Line ships is so carefully thought out and planned, right down to the carpet, the silverware, I mean, everything. They don't miss a detail on Disney Cruise Line ships. And the one thing I've noticed about Royal Caribbean ships is there is something of a sameness. Even like in the main dining room, from one ship to the other, they all have the same furniture. They have all the same dishes. They have, you know, it kind of gets the same from one Royal Caribbean ship to another. And that can be comforting to some degree, but it just, you know, lacks elegance and also the creativity and the variety that you'll see on the Disney Cruise Line ships, where, for example, you have 3 different dining rooms and they're all themed different. They all have different furniture. They have a different theme. They have different decor. They have different dishes. And each one is beautiful. And so you get exposure to more on a Disney Cruise Line ship than you would on the different Royal Caribbean ships. The Royal Caribbean ships are really nice and they're really pretty. But I'm going to give the win on this one to Disney Cruise Line because they just really put a lot of thought and care and detail into the design of their ships. And they're really gorgeous. So ships, 1 point for Disney. Okay, the cabins. Here's what I'm going to say about the cabins. There's a lot of variety in Royal Caribbean cabins. Different ships are going to have different size and different designed cabins. And again, you're going to have the differences on both cruise lines between an interior, an ocean view with just a window or a porthole, and a balcony or a suite. Both cruise lines are going to have all those different categories of stateroom. And to answer a question my daughter posed, cabin and stateroom are technically different, but that goes back in history and you don't really need to worry about it. In the cruise community, most people use them interchangeably. But if you really want to get technical, a cabin is like a basic room and a stateroom would have been something a little fancier, like for officers. So if you want to sound fancier, say stateroom. Or if the cruise line wants it to sound fancier, they're going to call it a stateroom. But really, they're all just cabins. Okay, so it's your room. Royal Caribbean's newer ships have a much more modern look to them. They try to keep up with like trends and decor and stuff. But again, I notice a sameness. Now, there's a sameness in the decor on Disney Cruise Line too, because from one ship to the other, like the rooms on Wonder and Magic are decorated exactly the same. I mean, we even had the same picture hanging on the wall on both ships. The rooms on Dream and Fantasy, I think, are decorated exactly the same. But on Royal Caribbean, there's more ships. So they have more ships on which all the rooms are decorated exactly the same. So I don't know how important that is to you, but even with their more modern look, they still have a lot of sameness. One thing, though, that's kind of a big thing is even a standard inside stateroom on Disney is going to be larger and more spacious than the vast majority of even balcony cabins on Royal Caribbean. So if you're looking for size, and the reason for this is because they're designing their cabins to be good for families. You're always going to get a bigger stateroom or a bigger cabin on Disney Cruise Line than you are on Royal Caribbean unless you pay the big bucks for a big suite. The other thing that's pretty neat about Disney is they have that split bathroom. They have 2 bathrooms. One has the toilet and a sink and lots of storage. And the other one, which is right next door, has the shower and tub and a sink. It's really nice when you need to be getting 2 people ready at the same time, or somebody's taking a bath or a shower and somebody needs to use the toilet. So the split bathroom really can't be beat. It's really nice to have those 2 bathrooms, if you will, on Disney Cruise Line. And then the other thing is I really enjoy how Disney decorates their cabins, at least on the older ships. It's a very classic nautical look. Some of the rooms, like Brilliance of the Seas, for example, have a similar look on Royal Caribbean, but it's not all of the ships. Some of them, it really looks more like a hotel room than anything you'd see on the ocean on Royal Caribbean. Again, both cruise lines have very, very nice cabins. I've never been really displeased with any cabin I've had on either cruise line. But again, for this category for cabins, I'm going to give the win to Disney. So far we have 2 points for Disney, 0 for Royal Caribbean. Oh, one thing I want to say though. My son did bring up that he does prefer the showers on Royal Caribbean, at least on the Voyager and the Oasis class, the 2 different classes that he's been on, which are a stand-up walk-in shower with a door. He likes those better. But not every Royal Caribbean ship has those. Some do have shower curtains. And what he meant is the shower on a Disney Cruise Line it's kind of short. So for tall people, it's tough. So that's one little caveat to that. Okay, food. Now, I talked in a recent video where I talked about the 3 best and the 3 worst things about our Disney cruise on Disney Magic, about the food presentation was one of the best things. But when it comes to food taste and food variety, we discussed it and we agree we're going to give the win on this one to Royal Caribbean. The food on Disney is still very good. There's a lot of excellent food on Disney, and the way they plate the food on Disney is absolutely beautiful. But for taste and for variety and for even like if you throw the buffet into it too and the food in the buffet, we like the food on Royal Caribbean better. We like them both, but we just give a little bit more edge to the food on Royal Caribbean. That could be a matter of personal preference and taste. They're both very good. I don't think you'll be disappointed on either, but we just personally like the food taste a little better on Royal Caribbean. So for food, we're going to give the point to Royal Caribbean. Okay, for entertainment and activities. There is a wide variety of entertainment and activities on both of these cruise lines. They both have water slides. They both have pools. They both have movies. They both have big main stage shows. They both have lots of games. They have lots of trivia. They have game shows. It varies by ship, especially on Royal Caribbean. What you can do on the ships varies by ship. We've had a very fun experience on both cruise lines. There's lots to do. You really should have a fun time, have lots of activities, lots of fun games, lots of shows on both cruise lines. The one thing my kids said is Disney is a little bit more family friendly. So if you're traveling as a family, you will find more family friendly offerings on Disney Cruise Line for sure. They do have adults only stuff too though. And Royal Caribbean, even though they may have more adults entertainment, they do have plenty of family friendly entertainment too. So we decided that this one is a tie. We're going to give a tie to this one on entertainment and activities. We feel that there's an equal number of good, fun entertainment and activities on both Royal Caribbean and Disney Cruise Line. Okay, the last category is service. The service is very good on both cruise lines. However, this one's pretty easy. The service on Disney is excellent. It is a premium cruise line. You do have a dedicated wait staff that moves around with you each night when you rotate through the different main dining room restaurants that are very, very attentive and get to know your family very well. They learn what you like, what you don't like. We had kind of a customer service disaster with dining on our last Royal Caribbean cruise, which the crew totally took responsibility for. It really, again, it's going to vary on your ship and your experience. But like, for example, one area that was kind of interesting was on our most recent Royal Caribbean cruise. I really liked and had a good relationship with our room steward, our room host, our housekeeping guy. But on Disney Cruise Line, even though he did a phenomenal job of cleaning and taking care of the room and making all the towel animals and all of that, his English skills were really low. And so we had a very difficult time communicating with him. I still give the guy props, you know, I mean, he's still able to communicate with us a little bit, but we never really had a connection with him. So, you know, you can have something like that. But overall, the service on Disney Cruise Line just far exceeds the service that you're going to have pretty much anywhere. I mean, the service on Disney is amazing. They really want to make sure that you're having a fabulous time, and they're very attentive and they're very focused on giving excellent service. They're very friendly. They're very funny. They're very good with talking to little kids, which is a thing all in itself. I mean, you're just not going to see Disney's level of service on Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean service is very, very good. I've never been disappointed with the service. Well, except, no, I have. But I mean, it's not like it's bad service. You're getting very good service on Royal Caribbean too, but it cannot compete with the service that you get on Disney Cruise Line. I think the only thing that would be probably comparable is if you're on a true luxury cruise line. For the category of service, Disney's got them beat. So Disney gets the point for service. So to wrap it up, Disney wins for the ships, Disney wins for the cabins, and Disney wins for service. Royal Caribbean wins for food, and on the category of entertainment and activities, I give them a tie. So the winner for us is Disney Cruise Line. And that's true if you're looking at just these basic things. That's even taking out the fact that you're really going to enjoy Disney Cruise Line if you're a Disney fan. Okay, but even if you take that away, just from the standpoint of looking at them side by side as cruise lines and looking at these 5 main categories, we give the win to Disney Cruise Line. I will tell you, however, that Royal Caribbean is a very good cruise line. It's an excellent cruise line. It's good for families of all ages. It's a very nice experience. You will have a very positive experience on both of these cruise lines. I would highly recommend either Disney Cruise Line or Royal Caribbean to anyone. I hope this video was interesting and helpful to you. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. And if you don't want to miss any of our upcoming travel content, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and ring the bell so you get a notification every time I put out a new video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day and safe travels.